Ciao, I'm Luca, an Android engineer working on native mobile apps since Android KitKat. If you're new, welcome to my channel. If you're already subscribed, welcome back. Have you ever applied multiple modifiers on a composable and noticed that if you change the order in which you define the modifiers, the end result changes and sometimes it actually changes dramatically? Well, that's not a bug, it's how Jetpack Compose works. Modifiers in Compose are an essential part to create UIs. They allow us to change how an element is displayed on the screen and how it is positioned as well. One thing you might not be aware of is that the order of the modifiers affects the outcome of the composable you apply them to. To understand why this is the case, we need to dig deep into how Compose UI is drawn from composable function. Compose transforms data into UI via three phases. The composition phase is where the compose runtimes goes through every composable function that you declare and see what has to be shown and what not, building a tree structure that defines your UI. The layout phase is where this tree structure is taken as input, it is traversed and it measures the width, height and coordinate of every element that has to be drawn on the screen. And then the drawing phase, the last phase of the tree, is where this tree structure is traversed again, node by node, and every node is drawn on a 2D screen, pixel by pixel. The layout and drawing phase are impacted by modifiers. Some modifiers like the border and clipped affect the drawing phase, while some others affect the layout phase, say for example the size, fill max size, padding, etc. The order of the modifiers is important because every modifier is applied from first to last. I have come up with a few examples to show you how the order in which you define some modifiers can change dramatically the end result that you have. So, for example, here the preview 1 and preview 2, we have in both cases a box with three modifiers: a padding, a background, and the size. Both of them define the size as the last modifier, but the background and the padding are applied in two different orders between the two of them. As you can see, if we define the padding first and then apply a background on a box, the padding is not colored because the background is applied or drawn after the padding has already calculated the distance between the parent, and so there is an empty space, which is the padding, around the background. In the second example, we have the background defined as first one, and then a padding is applied. So, for example, if we now add a text inside those two boxes, we can see that in the first one, the text is applied as soon as the background is colored as well, because the padding is outside. While here, in the second one, we can see that the text has its own padding inside of the background because the padding is applied later on. Now let's move on to preview 3 and preview 4. In both cases, we have a box that has a clip, a background, a padding, and a size as before. So the only thing that we've added is the clip that rounds the corner of our boxes by 10 dp. So in the first example, we clip the box first, we then apply the background, we then apply the padding, and we set the size to 100. If we add something inside the box, this will behave as in the preview 2, with anything that is inside the box will have a padding inside of it. But since the clip is applied before we apply the background, the color of the background won't go outside of the boundaries of the clipped rectangle. While in the preview 4, since we apply the background first and then we clip it, the background is not clipped. But if we copy the box here and create another box inside of this one, and we say that the color is red, and we don't clip it, and we actually also remove the padding here, we can see that the color is red and we don't clip it, and we actually also remove the padding here, we can see that the color is red and we don't clip it, and we actually also remove the padding here, we can see that the color is red and we don't clip it, and we actually also remove the padding here, we can see that the color is red and we don't clip it, and we actually also remove the padding here, we can see that the color is red and we don't clip it, and we actually also remove the padding here, we can see that the color is red and we don't clip it, and we actually also remove the padding here, we can see that the color is red and we don't clip it, and we actually also remove the padding here, we can see that the color is red and we don't clip it, and we actually also remove the padding here, we can see that the color is red and we don't clip it, and we actually also remove the padding here, we can see that the color is red and we don't clip it, and we actually also remove the padding here, we can see that the color is red and we don't clip it, and we actually also remove the padding here, we can see that the color is red and we don't clip it, and we actually also remove the padding here, we can see that the color is red and we don't clip it, and Even if the box inside is not clipped and it is as big as the parent, we can also remove the padding here and has a different background. The box inside is actually clipped because whatever is inside this block will be clipped because we have applied the clip to the outer box. But the blue background, as you can see instead, is not clipped. Each modifiers affect the layout, the drawing, or both of them. The execution of one modifier depends on the result of the previous modifier, meaning reordering can significantly change the visual result. One of the best ordering mechanisms, in my opinion, is first handle the layout, so padding, size, and everything, and then the visual, so background, clip, and anything else, and at last, the interaction. So if you have a clickable modifier, that should be one of the last one, unless you want the entire area to be clickable. Now let's move on with a box that has padding, border, shadow, background, and a size. And here again, the order is changed between the border and the shadow. So in the first example, we apply some padding, we then create a border, and then apply the shadow. We then apply the background and we set the size to 100. As you can see, the padding is applied first. We then have a border and the shadow is applied to the entire component. So the shadow is behind the cyan rectangle with the border. And then we have the size. In the preview 006, we have a shadow first, which is what creates this rounding on the corner, which, as you can see here, the border itself doesn't have any roundness, so it shouldn't be rounded, but the shadow here has the rounded corner, which is what creates the clipping on the border that is applied afterwards. Then we have some padding, so we see that the component is with the padding, and the gray area here is actually what is drawn in Compose to draw a shadow below your component. And then we have the background as cyan. The last but not least of the things that I want to show you is, for example, if you apply transformation on your composable, let's say offset and rotate. As you can see here, in the last two examples, we have two rectangles that are, both of them are 100 dp in size, and both of them are a background color of magenta. And both of those two modifiers are applied as last. But we then have an offset and a rotate, or a rotate and an offset. So in the first example, we shift the rectangle by 20 and 20 dp. And then, so we move it to the right and to the bottom by 20 and 20 dp. And then we rotate it to 45 degrees. And this is what happens with the preview 007. So the box is first shifted and then rotated by 45 degrees. While if we rotate the box first and then shift it, we will have this second layout. This ordering thing can cause a lot of headaches while you develop your application. I won't deny that I myself have found several problems and stumbled upon several things that I was like, why is it behaving this way? Just pay a lot of attention to how you create your modifiers ordering, and you'll notice that even by swapping just two of them, the end result can change a lot. Just pay attention and remember that the modifiers are applied one by one in order from first to last. And that was all from me today. I hope you enjoyed this short tutorial about the ordering of modifiers. If you did, please consider give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. And until next time, peace.